Down the last hill, and it's Englee, good junky bustle. Rocks and houses tossed together, gulls and rigging, boats docked among roofs it looks, planks crossing ditches to candy shacks, hostess Coke Rothman signs trailing down their fronts like medals, honorary membership in that world. I park, spattered pickups all around, and walk the muddy harbor lane. Stages, wharves, woodpiles, sheds, patched, propped, tilting gray, clamber over the water. Sunk cars waving kelp, boats rotting keel up, chickens, nets, rusting drums. Houses back up tight to the cliff. Every window curtain shifts. Pale hands, faces rise from crocheted shadows. Kids walk by, say hello, turn, walk by again, hello, pass again for another look. One guy in back of his pickets chopping wood. I say, hello. He bends, his hands in the chips, watches me under his arm. Me mother kept a boarding house, hullabaloo ballet, hullabaloo bala ballet, and all the boarders was out to sea, hullabaloo ballet. Of course there's room, there's always room. Albert's and Walter's room, and Lon's is coming back, but Jewelleen's in Roddington. You can have her bed for a night. Good early sun, last of the night clouds broken, racing away, the sea running high after rain. Out from Englee we buck, slew in the first of the waves. The deck drops under me and I grab the hatch, start learning the dives and dodges. Cliffs and a thin green cover, like dinosaurs crouching under a rug. Then through the rowdy narrows, a sunlit bay, spits, shoals, and islands, white birds lifting out of the blue. No center, no shadows here, no lines leading anywhere. Waves, capes, scrub tufts shift, shuffle under the open sky. I thought I was headed for silence, but this island blares and bustles as hard as any town. The sea slops and thumps, gurgles and knocks, suddenly loud, so close I turn expecting some person or creature climbing the bank, suddenly muffled, steered away by the wind rustling the grass, whispering up the wall. And the gulls, their single distant cries piercing the shore's roar, their spiral bickering, jeers, griefs, alarms, sharpen the air, salt made audible. Even a bumblebee touring slowly in at the door and out can make the cabin hum like a guitar. Under everything, I'm often vaguely anxious, uneasy in the middle of my actions here. So many things strange to me. The tide, for example. It constantly changes the terrain in the low shoreland east of the cabin, and I'm always a bit afraid of getting stranded there. Paths appear and become submerged. Little knolls that I cross on foot at one time of the day and fix in my memory as landmarks, at another time of the day have turned to islands. At low tide, the sea is bordered by natural meadows. The incoming tide slides up into these grassy fields, a beautiful, lush sight, but tricky as far as walking is concerned. It's often impossible to know, before stepping forward into the tall grass, whether my foot will find solid earth or water below the leaves, and if there is water, how deep it will be. Census of Newfoundland, 1985. Locality, Grey Islands. Population, 1. Those born in Newfoundland, 0. Those born elsewhere, 1. Persons under 15 years, 0. Persons 15 to 30 years, 0. Persons 30 to 50 years, 1. Persons 30 to 80 years, 0. Persons over 80 years, 0. Married persons, male, 1. Married persons female, 0. Roman Catholic, 0. Church of England, 0. Paupers, 0. Crippled or disabled, 0. Crazy or lunatic, 1. Idiotic or silly, 0. Orphans under 15, 0. Males engaged in catching and curing fish, 0. Females engaged in curing fish, 0. Farmers, 0. Clergymen, 0. Doctors, 0. Merchants and traders, 0. Teachers, 0. Persons otherwise employed, 1. The cold rooms, morning, the fire out, ice in the bucket, clothes stiff on a chair, day and night the same wool next to the skin, the long touching of naked bodies only in summer, years away, another life, a dream, will, moving the stiff limbs, setting to work, bad food, little food, fever in bed, under a slow tide, hot, cold, poker clanking, kitchen voices floating above, sky wind, snow, desert circling, shaking the thin walls, stillness in here, a warm pool, warm sinking, man a little thing, death a little thing. What can we do in such elements? Rock hills only recently softened with green, some moss and boggy hollows, vast migration of cloud, the wind an invisible glacier wearing the island down. I keep warm burning bits of a house, the work of people who tried to live here. Cyril. The last time I saw Carm was end of September a year ago. Last trip out for the season for us. We'd been taking our traps up, and I went along over to see how he was set for the winter, tell him we wouldn't be back till spring. Everything fine, he said, lots of fish and flour and whatnot, starting to haul wood, garden okay. So we talked a bit, and I said, well, mind the women don't run away with you out here. I liked to rib him about that, since he was always saying he'd seen women walking around the cove. He chuckled a bit sort of shy-like the way he did. Then he come up close to me, and he says, right serious, Cyril, he says, I want to warn you, don't come ashore here no more. Stay on your boat and keep her out in the bay. The cliffs, he said, and he pointed to all them big rocks up behind you here. The cliffs are all going to come crashing into the harbor any day. And he looked at me, that's strange, sir. I swear his eyes didn't have no color in them, no center to them at all. Not man's time here, sun's time, rock's time. I begin to feel it. Days blink by, light and cold flowing over, tide breathing smoothly, evenly. I slip between half seconds, flash light beam pinball style, do 10,000 vanishing things in a breath. I go back to Jewelleen and tell her we're getting married. She's drunk, a prim, wobbly smile wandering over her face, cigarette ash down her pink V-neck. She doesn't say no. I'm there, that's all. I'm what's happening now, the direction the world has taken. She stumbles and giggles, and so do I. Arm in arm we fall, swim over the floor, up and down stairs, tangled in curtains and blankets. Lying down's like holding the world to your cheek. Her whole family stumbles and flounders with us, uncles and cousins in every room, bent double, clinging onto the furniture. Brog, snall, wog, jeezawhack, I say to a dark, scrawny man. Mises Moses, he growls with spittled fervor, gazing into my eyes, clutching my arm. With two of us in it, her bed sags more and more. We lie in a slowly squirming knot like jigged squid. The bed, her body, my whole past, the whole dark world, a dream I contend with. hills and faces milling, rising, falling. Her skin has the taste of onions and powdered rock. Her tongue tastes of bacon, wood smoke, sour milk. All night her brothers have worked hard stripping my car. Squinting over their cigarettes, muttering rapidly, they hand parts of the engine back and forth over the breakfast table, showing me where they were wearing out. They like me. I'm part of the family now. I notice one of them is wearing my shirt. At the wedding we dance in a big dark room, a country and western band, and everyone stands back in a circle while Jewelleen and I start it off. We hug and shuffle and spin around a bit, and then the weight's off our feet, and it's much easier, and I know we've fallen down, everyone else soon doing the same, the room going round and round, dark shapes, a herd of seals under the red and blue bulbs. They slap my back a lot, these toothless, wiry men. They see I don't stand on ceremony, that I've got no delicate plans for myself, that I've given my body not only to Jewelleen, but to all of them, to the whole place, the way they have done. That's their thing, and we understand one another, drunk, the music blaring, sweating in ancient suits, brothers in sacrifice. They've thrown their bodies away in advance of death. It's what a man does, not only for work, burning themselves up for the young, for the women, but for death itself, for the bay and the hills holding all of the dead, for the songs, for being a man. And I dance with all the old women and pinch them, and they laugh and pinch me back. A small crack first in the morning's spell, the tall clarity, wind and sea and birds' talk thinly mixing, holding everything in a blue shell, and then a speck, a gust, crows clatter far at the edge, some faint hammering, some coarse-toothed saw making a hole, a sound I recognize, and I'm out of the cabin, the end of land at my feet, and low in the blue curve beyond the last shimmering line, eastern light is catching a boat's white face, and I'm shaking now, knowing the slow gravelly beat with Nels at its center, staring into the sun, and I'm inside throwing things into a bag, home, Karen, my children, their faces, their bodies, and running once more to the brook, the blunt speech of Pete. My feet do not move, my arms have gone over my head, waving as Nels plows closer down the blue hill.